Hey guys, welcome back to Boost Hunter Garage. Today we're going to be working on my 07 again, and we will be swapping out the front pinion seal. It has been leaking for a little while now and it's getting progressively worse. So we're going to jump on that and get that fixed up. So I'll show you how to do it. I know just from watching other videos and stuff, there is quite a few different ways guys have done this. So I'll show you the way I'm going to do it. I may point out a couple other ways you could do it. But yeah, we'll get to it. And eventually we are going to be doing the rear one, but today I'm just going to do the front. I'm going to try to keep this video short and sweet and just kind of show you each step that you got to do. Maybe not quite as much of the work, just so we can get this done and not make it so boring. So first I'll just show you, I picked up this kit here that came with everything. So then you have your pinion seal, the spacer you need, and the new nut here. It's probably hard to show on the video, but once I pull the other one off, this is not perfectly circular, so it kind of locks it on, so that's why you need a new one when you're going to swap this out. And I know from watching a couple places, lots of times guys only swap out this is your main, this is your pinion seal. Swap this out, but don't swap out this other seal here, which is on, would be like on the yoke. Sometimes you can get away with swapping and it doesn't leak, but then sometimes you do, especially like this here gets a wear on it. And that's why it doesn't seal up and you'll have a leak again. So just wanted to show that. If you guys are wondering, this is the part number there, if you can see that. As I shake like crazy. One thing I failed to mention here before we get out and start working on the truck, this is the AAM 9.25 front axle, so that'll be your 03 and newer Ram 2500 and 3500. All right, so now that we're down underneath the truck, very first step here, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the front drive shaft. So you're just gonna have these four T40s that you need to take out. Kind of awkward the way it goes in there, but should be able to snag them good. So you're gonna break those loose. Make sure to mark your drive shaft here, the way it lines up. So I'm just gonna take a paint marker, mark over that to make sure it's good. So we got it lined up right again after. And we're gonna go ahead and pop these off. We'll just push the drive shaft out of the way and then we'll come back with you and I'll show you the next step. All right guys, here we go. Finally got this drive shaft undone. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, you gotta be careful with these Torx heads. I've seen lots of guys talk about it, and yeah, this is actually the next day because I end up stripping out one of these Torx. I barely slipped on it and it absolutely just screwed it. And I tried a bunch of different ways to get it out and I could not get it out. So I ended up drilling out the head of it enough that I could knock the head off, get the drive shaft out of the way. And then I had to put some heat on it to kind of melt the thread locker. And then I was able to spin it out with a pair of channel locks. So I did go ahead and go buy some new bolts. Just looked online, I believe they are M8 by 1.25. And so I just picked these up. These are grade 8 fastener with this flanged head on it. So hopefully these should be a lot easier to get in and out. At least I can put a swivel on the end instead of using this, and hopefully not stripping it out, because it seems like lots of guys have had issues with that. So I wanted to point that out. But now, so what you're gonna do, this is where I'll show you a few different ways. So this is 1.25 inch, I believe, or 1.25 inch does work. It's a little loose on there a bit, but not too bad. I believe it's like a 32 mil, which I don't have, is the proper one. But this is where I'm gonna show where a few guys do this a few different ways, so that you get the right backlash on your gears. And so one way here If you can see the blue mark I made on there up in here. So you can, one way is undoing this, you can count your revolutions coming out, and then you can go back in the same way. And so I'm going to do that. Plus also you can use a caliper here, and I'll show you after, and then measure from the tip of here to the top of the nut, and then you can reset it back that way. So I'm going to do kind of both those as reassurance. You could count threads on here too, but that's kind of tough to see. And then I've seen one other way where guys use a split beam torque wrench, and then but you'd have to have the whole thing truck jacked up, the tires off. So yeah, then with the split beam torque wrench, then you would check your preload that you have on it. I believe that's the right terminology. I'm sure there's something else, but that's one way to do it. But we're going to do it this way with the calipers and counting our revolutions coming out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or here first, I'll show you quickly just kind of how to measure with the caliper. And then we'll go ahead and get this off here, and I'll let you know how many revolutions we are at and our next step of pulling this off. Okay, there we go. Got that off there. You can see where I had it marked there. It took me about 8 3/4 full revolutions to take it off. At least hopefully I counted right. At least we have our measurement here as a backup. I just had locked the caliper there, so it's set on our depth there, so we can check that after. And I just want to try to show you. So here's the new one. This is the old one. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see on the camera how this one isn't perfectly circular. It's kind of a little bit flat on 3 spots. So that's what kind of keeps it secure on there. So when we go back, we will mark it and do our same 8 3/4 in, and then check it with that. So now we will go ahead and take this 3-way puller here, and we will pull the yoke off there and get to our seals and strip them out. All right, there we go, guys. Got this pulled off here, and this one seal sitting right here. It popped right off. That's supposed to be on there. And then now we'll just take a flat blade screwdriver, and we'll just pry this seal out of here, and we'll get it all cleaned up, and we'll bring it back when we're ready to put the new one in. Seal here. Obviously got the old one out, and I just cleaned this all up. I was able to, with the old one, get a flat blade kind of hammered up in behind here and pried this out and just worked my way around. Came out pretty simple. Then yeah, I just took a bit of brake clean and cleaned this area out, and while I was at it, scraped some of this old thread sealant off, just so it's cleaned up when we put the new stuff on. So I'm just going to take the new seal here, and I'm just going to place it on there. I'm just going to tap it a little bit with the hammer just to get it set. I'm going to try and make sure it stays fairly square. So I'm just going to keep doing that, and then I just grabbed a chunk of 2x4 here, and I'm just going to place that, and I'll just use that to keep, so I cover more area, and just keep tapping that seal all the way in so it sits in there good and nice and flush without wrecking it. And that's what I'm going to do. So here's your other seal that goes on the yoke here. So we're just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to set it on there and set the 2x4 on there and just gently tap it on there so that it seats all the way on there. I'm just going to get it so it's all the way past, obviously flush. And then after, I just got this thread sealant here. I'll probably put a bit in here, and then on the shaft on the back of the differential. and then we'll go ahead and start putting this back on. So there we go, got that pushed on there. You can see all the thread sealing in there. Got a bunch of thread sealing up there. Don't want anything leaking, I'd rather use way too much. And then we're just gonna go ahead and place this back up here if we can do it one-handed here. All right, so that was a little hard to try to do one-handed, but anyways, I got it set on there. And then what you're gonna have to do, you can't just right away put your new nut and washer on there. You're gonna have to use the old nut to suck this on there a little ways, because with the washer, it doesn't give enough threads to put the new nut on. So you're just gonna suck this on a little ways using the old one, and then take it off. Then obviously replace it with the new washer and the new nut. And then you're gonna mark, I'm gonna mark the nut just so then I can count my 8 3/4 revolutions going in. And also we'll double check it with the measurement we took earlier from the tip of the shaft here to the top of the nut. All right, so there we go, guys. Got it on there, did our count, and double checked with the caliper. I'm glad we did this because I had to, once I put the caliper on, it was like, we're talking thousandths. We're out a little bit, so I gave it a few more tightens past my count, but it's now bang on with our measurement there. So I'm happy with that. We're gonna go ahead now and get the drive shaft put back on with those new bolts. We're gonna Loctite them in and make sure we get it lined back up with our marks that we had here. There we go, guys, all bolted back up. That fresh new hardware, got rid of that junk Torx that strip out nice and easy. All right, guys, we got that all done now, all bolted back up. And while I was at this, I also drained the diff all the way out. So that's one thing to make note is if you left it full, you are possibly gonna have some leak out on the backside. So now that I dumped that out, I just used a bit of brake clean to clean it all out. It was kind of had this like a dark gray film on everything. So I just cleaned everything out just to make sure this truck does have 300,000 miles on it. So I dumped that all, cleaned it up, and on your front cover, it is a reusable gasket. Mine looked like, I mean, it probably has been pulled off before, and it had some RTV on it, so I cleaned that all off. And I just used a little bit more just in case. I didn't want that leaking. Might just make it a little harder to take it off next time, but that's not a big deal. And we're just gonna top it up. I just got some synthetic gear oil here, 75W90. This is nothing fancy. Just got a Canadian Tire, the place close to me here. So we're gonna fill it up. The front should take about 3 quarts. So we're gonna fill that up and we should be good to go, and hopefully no more leaks. And soon we'll be doing the back one, so we can watch out for that video coming. But thanks a lot for watching. I hope this was helpful and to the point for you. And please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll catch you on the next one.